One, two, three. Hello, good afternoon. My
Good
name is
afternoon.
Esner. I'm going to be your physiotherapist today.
All right.
And how can I help you, Mr. Maximus?
All right. So I have a few problems I see that's happening with my lifestyle, and I'm looking to you to change those things. So first of all, I've seen that I have an increasing smoking problem that every day, specifically with marijuana, not with tobacco, that I just smoke a little more often than I should. I realize that, especially now with the winter months, and there's usually a seasonal dip around that time for most people because just naturally the weather. And so I've seen it's becoming worse and worse. Same thing with
Mhm.
my
Worse. Mhm.
movement. At the moment, I'm only moving once a week, like
Yeah,
intensively with my
once a week.
with my class with jujitsu.
Hmm.
Um, Besides that, I only really walk around during school or so.
Okay, so very
And
low minimal activity, and
besides that
you
one day.
find that you've been increasing the smoking has been increasing as
hmm
well.
hmm
Okay, okay. And when did the smoking began exactly?
Well, do you want it from the start, or just
Yeah, like
when it
why did you
began
begin smoking?
worse? Ah, okay. At first, it was just a fun thing to do with me and my friends.
Mhm.
You know, I tried it for the first time, like on my friend's birthday. And
Mhm.
from there, only on special occasions, I would do it. But ever since I moved to the Netherlands,
Mhm.
since it's a lot easier to get here, I've just been doing it more and more.
Ah, and what and so you used to do it mostly with your friends
Yeah.
back in the day, just for fun.
hmm
Okay, normal. So you never really used it for stressful periods or anything like that.
No, not really. Not until I moved, at least.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
And do you have any support from your family uh with in regards to stop smoking?
If anything, I find it's quite the opposite. Like my whole family, they're all in the same boat or worse.
Ah, so you're being
Mhm.
influenced more
Yeah,
by your family and friends.
I find that's why I think it's a little bit more easier for me to do because I won't feel as bad about it since everybody else doesn't anyway.
Okay, okay. And you would like to at least lessen or stop smoking in the future.
hmm
And
Yeah,
you've come to
yeah,
us. Uh-huh, uh-huh.
the end
Sorry.
goal is to stop completely, but I know that takes
Mhm.
a while, so of course you gotta take smaller steps to do that.
Process,
hmm
steps, small steps. We're gonna get there.
hmm
Okay, so ultimately, from what I'm getting so far, that now you move to the Netherlands, now you
hmm
smoke for stress. In what type of situation would you say you smoke for stress?
Mostly it's just if I've had an overwhelming day. So usually it's not one specific thing. Of course, sometimes there is if something's especially stressful, but usually it's just a culmination of things. So just a bunch of small little things that kind of bother me throughout the day to the point where it's like I kind of need a break after all of that.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
And what do you think about a substitution um, for the smoking? Do you think that you won't be able to avoid the smoking in general because of your outside influence, or do you think that if you were to at least lessen the amount, you would be able to stop in the future?
I think the latter, because the influence part was mostly back at home, in my
Hmm.
home country. But
Yeah,
since, of course, they're not here to influence
no
me,
more.
it's, I find if I just cut back slowly,
Hmm.
of course, then eventually it should just stop.
Oh, great, great, wonderful, wonderful.
Mhm.
Now, I think the important thing is how knowing how to deal with your stress. And from what you've also been telling me is that you also don't move around too much. Is that true? If I remember correctly, I think that's what you said in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I said. I
And you
only move
said that the
around
only
intensively once a week.
day you move around a lot is when you do jujitsu class.
Hmm.
Then that's once a week.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, how do you feel after doing that intense activity?
Usually pretty out of breath, pretty tired.
Pretty tired, pretty out of breath.
Hmm.
Okay. And do you have difficulty breathing during that high intensity workout?
For sure. For sure. That's
Okay.
exactly why I started it in the first place because I thought that my endurance and my overall, movement wasn't enough.
Fitness.
My
Yeah.
overall fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To handle that type of high intensity
Hmm.
workout. Okay. And have you been doing any other trainings to get your fitness level to up to par with what is required for that?
Not as of late, no. A few years
Okay.
ago, I
And
used to do the gym, but that was of course a few years ago, so I don't find it be relevant right now. But
oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay. Do you think that the smoking affects your condition, your overall fitness level to be able to deal with that? Okay. And what so do you have also how's your sleeping? Because it said you affects your breathing in that way. You said you breathe very hard after the training. How
Hmm.
do you sleep?
I'm a big snorer. I've always been my whole life just always
Snore.
snoring. So, and
Yeah.
sometimes I wake up like out of breath, some just depending on the day. I wake up out of
Yeah.
breath a little bit.
Okay. Okay. And how do you deal with that?
Uh, I just try to sleep earlier, sleep on time,
Hmm.
go to sleep and wake up at a reasonable time instead of sleeping late, waking up late, or sleeping early, waking up early.
Okay. Okay.
And just,
Now,
yeah.
so far what I've gotten is uh you do so when you sleep you actually have difficulty breathing sometimes or whenever you get up you have a hard time properly respirating when you get up and you and one of the ways you deal with it is by uh what do you do again? I didn't quite understand the last part. How do you deal with the difficulty breathing?
Me, I just make sure that I sit up, first of all, just so that I can make sure that,
Get the proper amount of air.
yeah, get exactly. And then depending on how bad it is, either I just sit on my bed and just take
Hmm.
a few minutes to breathe deeply in and out, or if it's a little worse, I'll stand up and do some stretches as well, and that usually helps out.
Ah, stretches. And the
Mhm.
stretches really help you. And does that mean it helps improve the amount of air you're taking in? Or do you feel more calm while you're taking in the
It's
air?
more about the calmness of it instead of the
Calmness.
ability to do it.
Okay. Okay.
Because sometimes,
Now,
it might not be as bad as it really is, but I kind of panic in the moment. So it's just the
oh,
stretching
it
helps
gets
me.
worse. So you get in
Yeah.
less air. Ah, I
Hmm.
see. I see.
Hmm.
Okay. 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 Now, what would like to do? So I would like to create a way to tackle more on the we're gonna be tackling, of course, the the movement part and also the sleeping part, which is very, very important to you. And what we'd like to do is, of course, we can start off with do you think you would be able to start off with lessening the amount of times you're smoking weed per day? Or would you like to have another alternative that we can introduce to you to help you out with that?
For now, I have been trying to limit my intake, but I find if there is a possibility for some kind of substitute, I find it would also do a great deal of help.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Now, since you're well aware about the consequences of smoking, is that correct?
Hmm.
That smoking affects the lungs. And if you were to, it affects the lungs and that you have a high risk of getting COPD, chronic bronchitis, emphysema, which is where your lungs gets constricted, limited airflow, and it limits breathing. And it can get very bad very quickly. And of course, that's why you're here to solve the problem. What we'd like to do, since we also know the withdrawal effects of smoking, we can't immediately get you into the alternative immediately. So what we would like to concoct a plan for you. Well, of course, the ultimate goal being not no smoking, but the sub goal would be if you would like to do it, if you think you can do it, is to at least limit or have or lessen the amount of blunts you would smoke throughout a day. And our ultimate goal, let's say, for example, if you used to take 100 or not 100, that's a bit too much. That's a bit too much. But can I ask you about how many blunts would you smoke in a day?
Now, at my worst, I would do two a day, and
And
they'd
what's
each
your
have about
average?
a gram of marijuana inside. But
Two a
right
day,
now, yeah, right now I've got it down to about one every other day,
one every
just
other day.
a 1 gram joint every other day, and I feel
Hmm.
fine in that one day in between. But of course, as time goes on, I know it'll be a little bit more difficult just naturally.
Okay. Okay.
But
So
yeah,
at your worst is two blunts a day, and
hmm
at average level is one blunt a day.
yeah, I'd say so. hmm
Okay. Okay. And do you feel any withdrawal effects from doing one blunt a day?
Um, no, from doing one a day, I feel just the same as doing two a day. So I
Okay.
only really
And
notice the effects once I take a prolonged break. So if I do 3 or more days, then I really start to feel it. Like I could probably
mm,
manage two at this point, 2 days
yeah.
without, but you know, it
Okay.
still isn't
Okay.
as easy as just doing one.
Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Mhm.
Now, so judging from that fact, apparently from what I'm getting is it's not the amount of blunts that you smoke, but the amount of the grams,
Mhm.
the measurement
Mhm.
or the amount you're smoking is okay. Now, and have you tried to lessen the amount of how much you're smoking or how much
Yeah.
weed you're smoking? Oh, you've
Mhm.
tried it right. Okay, great.
Yeah. At
Now,
first, before I,
uh-huh.
sorry, before I did one a day, I did two a day as well, but I made sure that I
Mhm.
only use half a gram per joint or blunt instead of 1 full gram. So I'd be smoking
Ah,
1 total gram throughout the whole day instead of 2 total grams. And now instead of
okay, I
splitting up
see.
between two joints, I just have it on one,
Okay.
but
So
every
you
other day as well
overall
now.
take in 50 grams and you try
hmm
to keep it there, or do you try to lessen it over time? Or
I
that's
try
the
to lessen
goal?
it over time, like every week or every other week, depending on how good I did.
Mhm.
I try to, take the next step, whatever that may be. If I lessen the amount per joint, or if I add more days, or if I just do, those kind of
Yeah.
examples.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
And do you have like a very rough cough? Yeah, do you have bad cough? Do you have a lot of phlegm when you're coughing? Do you have any of those symptoms?
No, like the worst thing that would happen is if I smoked a lot in one day, then I would get some phlegm and maybe some soreness in my throat. But I've never had any issues with coughing or anything like that.
Okay, okay, okay. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so in this case, um, of course, our ultimate goal is not smoking, but our sub goals we would like to introduce is first off, we would like to introduce starting off with lessening the amount of grams of weed you would take in per day. That would be
Mhm.
very helpful long term. So you're less dependent on the high dosage, and ultimately that would come down to you not smoking at all. But if it's be and long another step to that, another sub goal would be to try to because we have other alternatives. They have like because what are you really are you do you like to smoke because of it reduces your stress, or you like the taste of it, or is it just this action of just moving your hands in and out from your face?
For me, it's the
The,
feeling, like the
the
feeling you
feeling that
get.
you get.
hmm Not really
Okay,
the
so it's
action,
not this
because
action.
I can do the edibles as well. I prefer to smoke, but if I could do an edible, I can as well, and I'd still enjoy it. but not to the
Okay.
same
And do
degree as
you,
smoking it, you know?
so the edible you would do as well,
Yeah.
and you would also, so you are able to do different forms of the weed.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's just
And
that my most preferred method is smoking.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, we can try. Okay, would it be okay if because I know edibles is another alternative, but I
Hmm.
think it's a very high pure dosage of
Hmm.
the marijuana. It's a very high pure dosage. And if we would like to um ultimately stop and ultimately lower the dosage that you take, to try having it in a pure state would probably be it probably make us deviate from our goal. So
Hmm.
I would recommend to at least lessen the amount of grams of weed you would smoke a day, and then we would lead on to um trying our best to at least prolong that state to try to make it to at least less than at least half a gram, less than
Hmm.
that. Once we reach there, we're gonna check in again. We're gonna check in 2 months again, and then try your best to because we're gonna also like to talk to your family, some of your friends, to encourage you, to help you out, to support you on your journey, and to also give you a helping hand to say, hey, you're on the
Hmm.
right track. To not influence you to start smoking again, because remember, our environment plays a very crucial role in achieving our goals in this case.
Hmm.
So we're going to be checking back up on you again. We're going to be scheduling an appointment. And from what we've gotten so far, we're going to try to talk to your friends, your family, if you can try bring them in. And then we're going to
Hmm.
try talk to them about the planning or the overall planning on how to lessen the amount of grams you would take and you would smoke in the day and
Hmm.
ultimately throughout the week.
Okay.
All right, nice talking to you. Any questions before you
Yeah.
go?
No questions. I just want to thank you very much for all your help today.
Nah, no problem, man. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
coming. Have a wonderful
Of
evening.
course.